I'm an only child. I remember when I was a kid, I would sometimes get bored while I was playing with whatever toys I had. And I remember only being able to play single player games or, playing against the computer when playing games like 007 and things like that. My mom wasn't well versed with the first person shooter genre, so she couldn't play with me. So I had to either play, like I said, against the computer or when my friends came over. When my friends came over, it was a treat. We'd play 007, we played Midnight Club, Gran Turismo, and some other games too. But when it came time for them to go home, it was just back to me playing, and I remember being sad about it. The funny thing is, I remember wanting an older sibling, but obviously with me being born, there was no way that I could have an older sibling unless my mom was hiding one in some unknown closet, or if she adopted some kid in Africa like Angelina Jolie or something like that. I mean, is she still doing that? I remember seeing her adopting kids like every week, it seemed like. But then I was, a kid, so my perception of time was probably highly misconstrued. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Let's talk about siblings. I think siblings are very valuable. Yes, there are times when you fight. Yes, there are times when you disagree. And yes, there are times when it seems like your parents are catering more to your siblings rather than, your needs, I guess you could say. But if you're one of the younger siblings right now, you're probably in a very, valuable position, let's call it. Yes, your parents might let your big siblings stay out later, but your parents let their friends stay over later and, they do things that you don't agree with. But if you're one of the younger siblings, please recognize the position that you're in right now. This video may have a lot of unpopular opinions, but I have a lot of unpopular opinions and you should know this by now if you've been watching me for basically any amount of time. Anyway, the reason I say that is because of, the time you have compared to your siblings and your lack of life experience and their life experience. Let me explain. So let's say, for example, I was your big brother. I hated school, I played a lot of video games, I wasted my time and money, and now I have a sense of urgency, let's call it. So say you're 18 right now, you know from me telling you that you shouldn't follow in my footsteps. You know that you shouldn't waste your time, you shouldn't waste your money, you should go to school, and I'm not gonna say don't play video games, but don't play as much as I did. So in this sense, you're already 3 to 4 steps ahead of me and you're 18. I had to go through life and waste 7 years of it before I realized what I was doing. You now have the same experience I had at 25, but you're only 18. See what I'm saying? Let's say you have a big sister that wants to be a lawyer and she graduates and she goes to law school and she gets her degree and she becomes a lawyer. But then a few years into her career, she regrets becoming a lawyer and she tells you that unless you can deal with working 60 hours a week and basically never having any time off and having a very stressful job, don't become a lawyer. Now you can say, oh, well, you can just do that by going on the internet, forums like Reddit and stuff like that. And yes, you can. But when was the last time you put some weight behind some stranger's opinion? At the end of the day, not everything on the internet is true, so how can you validate it? Maybe the person that's allegedly a lawyer is in your area and they're telling you not to be one so they don't have to deal with any competition. And I realize that seems very far-fetched, but stick with me here. I said before that the next couple years after you graduate high school are very important. You either take a step down the correct career path or you fall into a life-sucking abyss. And I don't want to see anyone fall down a life-sucking abyss because I fell down a life-sucking abyss. And let me tell you once again, from experience, that it was not fun. I always said that if I had a positive male figure growing up, or a brother, that it would be over. I'd be running the world and closing $1 million deals, and I'd be able to buy any camera and lens that I want, except all that probably wouldn't have happened. But I think I would have more life experience than I do now. But besides all that, there is one thing that you should do if you're young right now. Whether you're graduating or you just did, or whatever the case is. I mean, really and truly, this advice is good even if you're like 50 or 60, but just keep asking questions. Absorb as much information as you can. I know when you're 18, you're shy and you're timid and you don't want to ruffle other people's, feathers, but trust me when I say ask as many questions as you can. The knowledge you'll gain is invaluable. I've learned about finances, how to build stuff. I've learned about wills and estates, all the legal stuff that goes into them and stuff like that by just talking to my girl's parents and a few of her aunts and uncles. And you might be saying, well, I'm scared to ask because it'll make me look dumb or naive. And that's just it. You are naive. I'm not gonna call you dumb, but you don't know any better, and there's nothing wrong with that. I remember seeing this quote, and it said, "The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. The man who doesn't is a fool for life." I remember seeing that, and now when I want to know something, I just ask. And you might seem like a fool for a minute, but if you think about it, if you're around people and you ask a question that's common knowledge, they may or may not laugh at you, but that's beside the point. I look at it like this. Say I'm with people and I ask, is eating this carrot healthy for me? And people laugh at me. Yeah, sure, they laughed, but if I got a yes or even a no as an answer, either way it didn't matter because now I'm no longer a fool, and people laughing at me doesn't mean anything. I now gained knowledge that carrots are healthy. What are they gonna do? Go tell their spouse that I'm an idiot because I didn't know if a carrot was healthy or not? And even then, what is it to them? Guarantee they'll either laugh or forget about it in 20 minutes, so it won't even matter in the grand scheme. Always think grand scheme. Okay, well, maybe not, because then it seems like nothing matters, so don't be like me in that sense. But I hope that whole spiel, made sense. One other thing that I also wanted to add here is that if you have older siblings and you're the younger sibling and your older sibling is trying to tell you something like, life advice, like you shouldn't waste your time, you shouldn't waste your money and stuff like that, please, please, please listen to them. Because I wish I had, an older sibling or a dad or, a positive male figure, I guess you could say, or somebody that knew better to tell me things like that. But the reality is that I just didn't have anybody to tell me anything like that. So I know it's gonna go against everything that you're thinking. And my mom used to tell me, to save my money and stuff like that. But like I said, I was 18 years old. I wanted shoes and I wanted clothes and all this kind of stuff. But trust me, please, please, please trust me. It's not gonna mean anything in like a year, 2 years or anything like that. Just save the money, invest the money. I don't care if you keep it under your mattress, but don't spend it on Nike clothes and Nike hats and Nike shoes and stuff like that, because it's not gonna get you anything. I'm gonna say it again. Please, 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 please. If you're 18 right now, learn from my mistakes. I want you to learn from my mistakes. It's gonna help you tremendously. It's gonna help you way more than you think. Either way, if there's 2 things to take away from this video, let it be that you should consider yourself being at a huge advantage if you have older siblings due to you being able to receive life advice from them, and ask as many questions as you can, because there's no downside to knowing more things. And as always, thanks for watching.